Alright guys, this is Tacho here, and today we're going to be talking about some builds for Joshua, the brand new Tempest Trial unit in Fire Emblem Heroes. Joshua has always been one of my favorite characters in the series because I just like his attitude. He loves to gamble, and I think he has one of the coolest designs in the series as well. He just looks really awesome. I remember playing Sacred Stones for the first time, and when I first recruited Joshua, I just took one look at him and I was like, wow, I like this guy already. So yeah, Joshua's awesome. I've got 3 different builds for you guys today. We're going to be talking about them one by one. And the first build I have for you guys is a Mage Killer build. I'm sure most people came to the conclusion that this would be a good Joshua build, thanks to the way that his weapon works. So IVs are going to be neutral on all of these builds. That's because Joshua is a Tempest Trial unit, so he doesn't really have a choice in terms of what his IVs can be. But it's not like that's even a big deal for him, since his base stat total at 164 is already very high, and also, he doesn't really have any statistical weaknesses. I guess you could say that his 31 attack is a little below average, but everything else is pretty fine, and for the most part, above average, honestly. So Joshua's a very solid unit all around the board. His weapon, Audhulma, is what we're running on this build, and it's going to grant his special attack -1 cooldown, and it's also going to do +5 res to his base res. So he goes from having 28 res to 33 res, which is very solid, and it's going to mean he's going to be very great at taking on mages. And the -1 special charge with the special that I'm running here, which is Iceberg, it's going to go from a 3-hit cooldown to a 2-hit cooldown. So very solid. You just turned Iceberg into Moonbow, and because his res stat is so solid, Iceberg is going to really pack on the pain when he hits opponents with that. I have Reposition in the assist slot, which is pretty much the most versatile assist skill to run on most units. That's because it's the best for getting your units around. You could also effectively run Swap on this build to theoretically swap places with one of your guys and have Joshua get into range of being hit by a mage, while also getting the guy that you swap places with out of range. So that could be good. Also, rally skills as always to buff stats, and the double rally skills are nice for arena play since they have the highest SP cost for any assist skill. So those are some other options for the assist slot. Now in the A slot passive we have Distant Counter. This is pretty much the main focus of the build since Joshua has a really nice res stat for an infantry red sword, and with Distant Counter he's going to be better than both Ike and Ryoma when it comes to taking on mages. So very good there, and we also have Hector on the way on the 8% banner, so it shouldn't be too hard to sacrifice a Hector and get Distant Counter on Joshua. So I would highly recommend trying to do that if you manage to pull Hector. In the B slot we have Wrath. This is going to add 10 damage to his special attack when it triggers. I also have the Quicken Pulse seal. So how this is going to work is Audhulma and Quicken Pulse are going to be dropping Iceberg to 1 hit on the first turn. And the idea is that we're going to bait either a red mage or a green mage, take a hit from them, and on the counter attack, Joshua's going to smack him with Iceberg and Wrath. So he's pretty much going to one-shot whoever attacks him, whichever mage tries to get in his face. And right after that, he's hopefully also going to be below 75% health. So Wrath is gradually going to give him +1 special charge at the start of every turn. So you can do the whole thing over again and nuke another opponent. This time probably a melee opponent with Iceberg and Wrath. So Joshua's going to be solid at taking on both mages and also infantry units once everything gets going and the set gets started. In the C slot we have Defense Ploy. Joshua makes very fantastic use of the Ploy skills thanks to his res stat being so high and Audhulma just making it even better. So Defense Ploy is also going to allow you to do more damage to your opponents, and all of a sudden that 31 attack stat that Joshua had that kind of lacked a little stopping power doesn't seem so bad all of a sudden. So that's pretty much it for the Mage Killer build. Overall, it's a very nice Joshua build, and I would also argue that this is going to be the premier Joshua build that most people are going to run. Now moving on to the second build, this is more of a supportive Joshua. We're going to be abusing Joshua's high res stat to make very good use of ploy skills and allow him to be a very good team player by lowering the opponent's stats for either himself or his allies to take advantage of a crippled opponent. So again, we're running Audhulma, Reposition, and Iceberg. But the passive skills here are a bit different. We have Fury 3 in the A slot. Very good skill for Joshua since, as I said before, his stats are already very well rounded. So bringing all his stats up by 3 is just making him even better. And with plus 3 res from Fury and plus 5 res from Odd Hulma, Joshua all of a sudden has 36 res, which ties with Halloween Henry for the highest res stat in the game. So this means that Joshua is easily going to be able to ploy any opponent that he lines up with. So this is a very good build for Joshua to run as a supportive unit and really hurt the opponent's stats so that you can take care of them a whole lot easier. We have Swordbreaker 3 in the B slot. This way Joshua can still take on an opponent even if he isn't able to ploy them, and he's going to be able to bait sword units very easy with this build. Basically, they're going to come up and attack him, and then he's going to get the double on them, and the final hit that he does is going to be an iceberg right to the face. So he's pretty much going to be able to take on red swords, no problem with this build, and also hurt any opponents by lowering their stats with the ploy skills I have. On this build, I'm running Speed Ploy and Attack Ploy in the Sacred Seal slot. That's because overall, these are the stats that are really going to hurt any opponent no matter what they are. Having minus 5 speed is going to make it a whole lot easier for Joshua to get doubles or one of your allies to get doubles. And it also benefits him because having minus 5 speed on the opponents is like also giving him plus 5 speed. So the fact that he's not allowed to have a speed boon is all of a sudden made up for by having Speed Ploy on this guy. So it's a really nice tool for him to have in his arsenal. And with Fury 3 bumping up his speed to 38, he practically has 43 speed, and then possibly even 47 if you got an ally with Hone speed on the team. So very nice use of Joshua and very nice use of ploys. Attack Ploy in the Sacred Seal slot needs no explanation. It's the only ploy skill in the Seal slot anyway, and having minus 5 attack on opponents is going to make it easier for either Joshua to bait them or one of your allies to bait them instead. So very good. You could also run Defense Ploy on this build if you wanted, but I think Speed Ploy is a little more relevant since it's going to hurt any opponent, and Defense Ploy is really only going to hurt when you're the one that tries to attack them. So Speed Ploy has just a little bit of an edge, I would say. And overall, that's pretty much it for this build. It's a very nice build to make, and Deidre is also going to be on the 8% banner. So it's not going to be tough to give Speed Ploy as an inherit to Joshua once that banner rolls around. Also, Deidre happens to be green along with Hector. So while you're sniping on those green orbs, you have a very good chance to be pulling some nice skill inherit fodder for Joshua to obtain. So pretty cool stuff there. And the final build that I have for you guys, this one is more of a fun build, but I think it has some potential, especially with the right supportive teammates. So this Joshua is going to be a Miracle Joshua. We're running Odd Hulma again. This is taking advantage of the fact that Odd Hulma is going to be giving -1 special charge to Miracle, bringing it from 5 to 4. I'm also running Shield Pulse 3 in the B slot to decrease Miracle by 2 more cooldown. So Miracle is effectively at 2-hit cooldown on this build, and Joshua's going to be able to take advantage of that pretty easy. I have Pivot as the assist. That's because in case you need to get Joshua out of the way, if he's attacking an opponent and he's very low on health, he's going to want to be as far away from the opponents as possible so they can't finish him off. So we're running Pivot on this build to get Joshua out of the way. Also, it's good for getting him in the way, because you would want this Joshua with Miracle to be the one taking attacks and being on the front line. Again, we're running Fury 3 in the A slot. That's because pound for pound, +3 to all stats is just going to make Joshua so much better, and it's just augmenting all of his already good stats even more. Like I said, Shield Pulse in the B slot to decrease the cost of Miracle by 2. And we have Speed Ploy again in the C slot. That's because Speed Ploy is going to be hurting the opponent's speed and also raising Joshua's own speed. So with +5 speed, Joshua, without having a speed boon, is going to be benefiting from this very greatly. He goes up from 35 neutral speed to 40 neutral speed. And we're also getting +3 speed from Fury, and possibly +4 from a Hone speed ally, like I said already. And we have Attack Ploy in the Sacred Seal slot once again to ploy the opponents and lower their attack. Overall, like I said before, Joshua makes incredible use of these ploy skills, thanks to Odd Hulma and Fury bumping up his res stat to ridiculous levels. Now, as far as allies go, I really wish we had Larichel or Natasha in the game so that we could actually make some pretty fun use of Joshua and play this game like it's Sacred Stones with a healer behind him to make full use of that miracle. But you can use pretty much anyone to heal. It doesn't matter. Any cleric should do. Also, you can run a unit with reciprocal aid and high HP. Like that Legion set that I made a while back with reciprocal aid and escape route to fly to units, recover their health, and then get instant doubles with Brave Axe and finish somebody off. So that's one example. You can use anyone really with reciprocal aid as long as they've got more base HP than Joshua and they'll be able to fully recover his health. It also helps if they have a danger build with Desperation and maybe Brash Assault or whatever to guarantee some quad attacks. So there's some pretty nice synergy going on with this build if you have the right allies for it. But overall though, I would say this is more of a fun build and it could be really cool to use on arena defense to throw some people off. And Joshua overall actually makes the best use of Miracle in the game right now, since he's one of the few units that can actually run Shield Pulse very effectively. So look out for this build, it could be really fun to play. And it also fits the theme of Joshua being a gambler, which I also think is pretty cool and fun. So yeah guys, that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed these Joshua builds. And as always, this is Tacho signing out, so cheers, have a great day, and I'll catch you again next time.